Hello, and welcome to Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom, the podcast where we share unsolicited tips, tricks, and life lessons. I'm Rachel from 5 Minutes for Me.
And I'm Heather from Sea Life as a Muse Creations. Together, we're here to share our insight and experiences on a wide range of topics to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
Whether you're looking for advice on lifestyle, personal growth, or just a good laugh, we've got you covered.
So let's settle in and embark on this journey together. We are on week 2 of Friendship, Wellness, and Wisdom with Heather Rogers from Sea Life as Muse Creations and
Rachel Vaglio from 5 Minutes for Me. It's so nice to be back.
Yes. Our first episode was, it was choppy, but good. You know, we're getting our feet wet with
trying
this
to find
whole
our
thing.
rhythm.
Yes. The thing that you need to know about me and Rachel is we are lifelong friends. We've been friends since 8.
Yeah, since we were
eight, somewhere around there.
And I moved across the street from you. So.
Yes, and so we are Gen Xers. We are a little older, and so from 8 until now, it's been a very long friendship, family element, and so the great thing about us is that we have moved apart. And we have stayed actually connected in a bizarre way with our path of life, right?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, we've stayed completely connected to where we have done this soul-searching, life-searching thing, but we've kind of have had parallel paths.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how that kind of worked out. We a lot of the same similar interests, and after all these years, and even as time goes by, it's super easy to connect, and we always have something to talk about because we just kind of continued on this very similar path as adults.
Right.
And it's nice to really have that kind of connection with someone.
Yeah, and it's great that we stay on these parallel paths, but then we keep crossing, and then we go on our path, and then we cross, and then we go on our path, and we cross, and it's really just it's very comfortable. And I know in the last episode we talked about things from our childhood that has kept us with self-care, and so I want to say in this episode, you are one of those things. You are one of the things that I have brought from my childhood that has helped me develop in my self-care. So thank you for that.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, like as far as like, you know, with connections and staying social and all that, because you know, I'm not the greatest person with that. I lose track like very easily, and then I'm a little apprehensive sometimes about like reconnecting with someone I haven't spoken to in a while, and that's just never been the case with us. Like, if I haven't spoken to you and something happens, I can pick up the phone or text or whatever without even, like, thinking about it and missing a beat and just being like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you know, she was busy, I was busy, and it's all good, you know?
Yeah.
And it's nice. Yeah, it's very nice to have that.
Yeah. Awesome. So on this episode today, we're going to talk about our basic needs, our primal needs of self-care. Which would cover sleep, nutrition, hygiene, movement. And so I know that you've done a lot of stuff around sleep and things like that. So I'm going to give it over to you right now for you to talk about that, because you've done a lot of work.
Okay, yeah, no, I've been working on that for a while. So sleep is something that I had an issue with for a long time. I know I did mention on the first episode, so I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and a big part of that is sleep disturbances. Also, I had chronic migraine for a long time, and it comes along with that. And then, you know, being a woman of a certain age, then you run into other issues where then sleep, you know, is continually disturbed. So I wanted for me, and then, you know, to find a way to share some of the ways that you can consistently get a better night's sleep without medication. Like, what could I do? What could I add to my routine? Like, how could I change my day around to get the best night's sleep without substances? And there are a few, like, you know, all natural remedies like teas and honey and things like that I have found. And I started putting them together in blog form. I have a couple up on my webpage. So it's 5minutesforme.com. So you can check that out. Also on my Facebook page with the links up to those. I think I have 3 or 4 up right now. I'm working on a series. I think I have like 10 or 11. So just be on the lookout for those. But yeah, my goal with sleep was for myself to get a better night's sleep without having to take medication to do so. So I looked into things like when you should stop eating certain foods that might affect your sleep patterns, like how long before you go to bed, like, should you stop exercising? Oh. What are some activities that are actually great to do before bed to help you kind of slide into that relaxation,
right, and
get better sleep? And I'm going to tell you, for the most part, with everything that I did, obviously you want to stay away from caffeine, like foods that contain caffeine, coffees, alcohol before bed. As much as you think that it would help you go to sleep, it will help you fall asleep, but it'll wake you up in the middle of the night, which is something a lot of people don't think about.
So you don't get the straight sleep.
Right. So you fall asleep initially, but then it wakes you up within the middle of the night, which I thought was great. So I have, like, you know, at what point before you go to sleep should all of these things stop? Like, you should stop eating like 4 hours before you go to bed so that your digestion is done. Right. So that you stop drinking so that your body can process, like, alcohol. Caffeine, you should really stop much, much earlier in the day. Otherwise, again, you may fall asleep, but it might wake you up in the middle of the night. And the biggest thing with sleep is stress. So finding ways throughout the day, obviously, to keep yourself relaxed and de-stressed really help you fall asleep. So gentle exercises, nothing overly active, super helpful. You don't want to be on social media, watching TV, like delved into your computer, because all that can add, you know, just to the stressors. So relaxing, listening to calm music, meditation, reading, all great activities to do before getting a good night's sleep. I have so many things, and I'm like, I feel like I'm just shouting them out there.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
I think for me, I'm not a good sleeper. I have never been a good sleeper. I think my lifestyle dives into why I'm not a good sleeper. I don't think it's really necessarily things I eat so much anymore, right? But in all reality, I don't drink. I don't do a lot of those things. But the reality is my life is super busy, and so I try to pack as much as I can in a day, and then my brain doesn't shut off. And so I think of all the things that I could be doing. I sometimes look at sleep as a waste of time.
Right, but it isn't. So like,
I know it's not.
Your body actually, like, that's when it, like, repairs itself.
Yes.
That's when it, like, processes your
absolutely
thoughts.
And and
it's
so
necessary.
Yes, but the great thing about us reconnecting, right? So I had talked to you about sleep, and I said, since the boys were little, my kids are older now. I mean, my oldest son is 30. And so the thing about sleep is I keep the same, or did keep the same sleep schedule from when they were kids.
Oh my God.
So I kept that 4-hour sleep schedule from when they were kids. And because when they were kids, I worked 2 jobs. I was a single mom, worked 2 jobs, went to college, and things like that. So I kept that pattern. I kept that sleep pattern up until literally just recently.
Yeah. See, and I cannot function at all.
Yeah.
That little amount of sleep. So it was important to me because I wanted to function.
Yes. But, and so this is the interesting piece. This is very interesting. So, the interesting piece is I get way more sleep now than I have probably ever received, other than when we were teenagers and we would just sleep the day away, right? Yeah. But the reality is, so I get more sleep now, but when I first started getting more sleep, I couldn't function.
Yeah.
My body did not know how to handle the sleep, which, really throws you off, because we talked about in last episode that self-care is messy, right?
Absolutely.
But the reality is, like, changing patterns can really throw you off, even bad ones.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you're gonna have some adverse reactions sometimes when you're moving into like healthier habits and patterns.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, it can mess with you with sleep, with nutrition, with exercise, right? So we've all had those things kind of, when you start something new, your body's like, whoa, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like this.
And so, like, I started off with getting, 6 hours sleep, and I said to my husband, I was like, I like want to stay in bed all day. Like, I can't really function. My body is so much more tired now than when I was doing 4 hours. And so, but I kept up with it. And so now it really is nice. And one of the things that I like to do is legs up the wall.
That is super relaxed. That's a great one before bed, and I actually have that. I'm putting together a whole exercise component of like what exercises and stretches are great to do before bed, and then that's one of the ones that I do have in there.
Nice. And so, like, I do a restorative yoga practice, and then legs up the wall to end.
Yeah, nice. Super relaxing. Nice. It helps like relieve stress from your lower extremities, from your legs, and reduce tension, and pretty much anything that's going to help you like de-stress and relax.
Yep.
Is something that's good to do before bed. Like, if it's not going to increase your heart rate and all that.
Yeah, and I think also to the drainage of the lymph nodes.
Absolutely.
Really, really helps, because
it's relaxing the muscles. It's building up the muscles. It's causing stress and tension.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't think people understand, like, the lymph node system and everything like that, and that's for another episode.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, it's so important to get those to drain. So, so let's move on to nutrition. Okay. And so when we look at nutrition, for a long time, I did not know I was allergic to things. And I continued to eat things that I ate when I was a kid, and I was uncomfortable as a kid, as you know, right?
Yeah.
But I ate as a kid not knowing that I had these allergies. And so thinking there was just something totally wrong with me. Science wasn't up to the allergy thing that we have now. And I know that you have dealt with that as well, with some intolerances.
I have a lot. Yeah, I had quite a few, and it took quite a bit of work to get through that. And again, like, looking for ways to feel better without just taking medication was huge for me. And luckily, like, I have a very good doctor that always goes through diet first before looking to prescribe. So, which I thought was like super important. But nutrition, I've been like very passionate about nutrition, because it's not something like we're taught enough about. I feel like. So they give you that, like, I don't know if they do it now. We got the food pyramid, remember? And there was like, you're supposed to.
But it was all and it was misinformation.
It was. But at the time, they actually thought it was great information. Like, for years growing up, it was eggs are good for you. Don't eat eggs. They're terrible for you. They're high in cholesterol. Eat eggs. They're good for you. They have lots of vitamin D. You can't get vitamin D anywhere else but the sun. Don't eat eggs because, and you're like, wait, well, so what am I eating?
Yes.
Eat beef. Don't eat beef. Like, this is why it's bad for you. This is why it's good for you. You should be vegetarian. No, you should be paleo. No, you should. And you're like, wait, so then no one knows what to eat. And everyone's really just trying to sell you some form of like processed food.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which then becomes the problem. So it's like, it's not really about dieting so much as it's about finding nutrition and foods that actually contain nutrients that will give your body energy. So like, well, what is it? Real food is an ingredient. It doesn't have ingredients.
Right.
So like, and again, like there was that little trick. It's you shop the outer
the perimeter
of the grocery store. So produce, bakery, meat, dairy, like all around the outside edges of the store, not so much in the aisles. Not to say that all packaged food is bad. There are some actually pretty great foods with limited ingredients that do pack a lot of nutrition in that are healthier snacks, but it's a lot of language, it's a lot of learning to figure out like what you should be eating, because
if you can't
really
pronounce
telling you that other than but it's like if you know what something is and that's in there, like it's good. Like if you know something has almonds in it, you know what an almond is.
Hopefully.
You know, polysorbate 80, I don't know. Like red dye number 5. Like definitely that's not something that you grow or like has a pulse at any point. Right.
And you have to you have to know that anything that is has a long shelf life. If it has a super long shelf life, probably not good for you.
It will enter your body probably and stay there for a very long
time. It has
time.
A long shelf life, so it has a good body life.
Without doing you any good. You'll get a little bit of energy and then it's just going to like hang out there. So, but I think that the key to the whole thing with that is knowing, okay, yes, if you have an allergy or if you have an intolerance, which, you know, you should talk to your healthcare professional about. And then from there, develop what foods are best for you and your system. Some people do well eating more meat.
Yeah.
That's what they need. And that's fine for them. Like not everyone should be vegan.
Right. Absolutely. And we're all different and that's okay.
Yeah. So, but you need to find out for you what works for you and then eat accordingly, not just based on what some diet says. Like some people do really well eating beans and legumes and that kind of stuff, and other people don't. And if they're prepared right, I know there's so many, like, I don't want to get like too deep dive into it, like, but you need to know what works for you. And talk to your doctor, talk to a nutritionist if you're really not sure, and find out like about what are some healthy eating options for you, not like what the best diet is. Like, it's not about that.
The other piece of it is it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so when we are dieting, and this is my struggle because my whole entire life I've struggled with weight. I still struggle with weight to this day. I will struggle with weight till the day I die. It is part of my make, right? And so nutrition is very hard for me because I've struggled for the longest time trying to figure out what are the right things to eat for my body. Not necessarily weight, but allergy and disorders. And so those are all huge elements to really, you have to hone in on. You have to hone in on what you're taking in your body, how it's making you feel. How does your body feel? How is your body reacting to it? And on another piece of nutrition, but not nutrition, I feel the same way with the mind. What you take in, whether it's healthy or not healthy, those are all important elements. The healthier stuff you take into your mind, self-development, reading, discovery, things like that, I feel like nutrition, eating stuff, putting stuff into your body, putting stuff into your mind, they all go together.
Yeah, right? It's all a form of like consuming. The thing is with that, it's difficult. Like the way that everyone's lifestyle is paced.
Yes.
To sit there and figure out how they're reacting to their foods. And it's also difficult to do without eliminating certain things and knowing what to eliminate and where to start. Like it can be a very daunting task, which is why I said, you know, start out with a professional, someone that, you know, is knowledgeable in this area and can take you safely through figuring out what's best for you. If you're not really having any health issues around it and you just want to eat healthier, a good thing to do is literally just buy real food and make it yourself at home. Mm-hmm. And then you know what's in it.
Right.
And then that eliminates a lot of the guesswork. If there's no other like underlying issues.
Right. Absolutely. So we could probably talk about health and nutrition forever, but we'll save some more of that for another episode. Let's move on to hygiene.
Okay, and this is an easy one. I feel like we kind of don't even think about it as a form of self-care, but it really is, and it's one of the most basic, and it's the stuff that we're taught when we're little kids, right? So it's like you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, like, you know, and flossing, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's super important because we want to preserve all these things, right? We want our skin to be healthy. We want to keep our teeth until we're older. Mm-hmm. It's not something that actually, you know, used to happen a long time ago because they didn't have that proper care. So just all that basic stuff. And then you can add grooming into that, and then everyone has their own grooming routine. But it is a part of self-care. It's part of like how you're putting yourself out there and presenting yourself to the world, is like how you know.
Yeah.
And everyone has a different level at which they'd like to take that. So it's more, I think with that stuff is more about realizing it, hey, you actually have somewhat of a self-care routine. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of little ways you can like add or take away from it to improve your quality of life.
Right. And the other thing is, as we get older, our self-care routine gets different. Not the brushing of the teeth or the things like that, but things get different. Skincare and things like that become a little different. Hair changes, and so your hair care becomes a little different. And so knowing that you can add and take away, and you don't have to be so staunch on just every day I have to A, B, and C. Like every day you're going to shower, every day you're going to brush your teeth, every day you're going to, like, those elements. But when you add things to your routine, they don't have to be everyday things. And it's nice to be able to maybe once a week dry brush, or you know, things of that nature.
You know, you do like a mask for your face, or even like for your feet.
Yep. And so those hygiene things are great, and then you can just pepper in some other stuff, which is lovely when you have the time to do it, and you just want to pamper yourself a little bit, and making sure that you're mindful, right? Yeah, not automatic pilot in all your hygiene stuff. Like, well,
and not just doing it because you know that you have to do it, but to do it to take care of yourself, to take care of your well-being.
Right.
All right. Okay. So from there, I think we're going to move on to, and I'm going to call it movement, because I don't want to call it like working out or straight out exercise. Yes. There are so many forms of healthy movement and like movement. So there's so many different things you can do to stay active. You don't have to have definitely like a serious workout routine.
Right.
You want to remain active. I actually love the fact that everyone got like their Fitbits and they were doing the step counting. I think that's actually like a great way to stay accountable and to be moving around, especially if you have a job where you're sitting all day long.
Yes.
You don't need to join a gym. Like a lot of us learned during COVID, like get a bike at home, get some exercise equipment. You can definitely do movement from home. And it, as an adult, you could really do like 15-minute increments. You want to do like 30 minutes of activity regularly a day. especially when it comes to like, cardio
Mm-hmm.
or heart healthy like movements, but it doesn't have to be strenuous. Actually, as we get older, walking is definitely like a great option, and you can go for little walks, and you can walk your dogs and have that be a part of it. Or you could go to the grocery store and do a couple extra laps, like arounds, and walk through things. You can, go to the mall,
Park
you
further
could go
away.
to the gym. Yeah, exactly. And just add to
Right.
that's actually a great one. Most of the time I'll try to park a little farther out because it's easier to get in and out, number
Right.
one.
Yep.
And then it just adds to like what you're getting up doing, moving around.
Right.
You don't have to have this like huge fitness routine. It is beneficial to add some weights or weight bearing as we get older, because we want to like put a little bit of pressure on our bones to actually keep them strong and healthy and like keep our bone density.
Right.
But again, you don't have to do heavy weightlifting. There's like lots of things like yoga.
Yeah, you can use your own body weight.
Yeah. All the new like the wall workouts that I'm seeing, it's all body weight, which is great, and a lot of them are shorter, easy to maintain routines from home. Yeah. And again, like just I say like check with your healthcare provider to make sure that you're doing exercises that are safe for you, because I'm going to bring up what you like legs up on the wall. That is not a safe exercise for everyone to do. It's right. Technically it's an inversion. Like even though it's an inversion pose, so it can lower your heart rate.
Yes. Well, and honestly, that's what it's for.
Right.
Right.
But
not everybody wants to do that.
But you always want to check into what it is you're going to be doing if you have health issues before you start a regular movement program. Most doctors will encourage you to do some form, but they will let you know what's healthiest for you. And I think that's, if you're a little bit older and you haven't done it, or you haven't like, you were an athlete when you were a kid and then you haven't worked out in 20 years, it's a good idea to like check in and make sure you're good to go for a healthy movement practice.
Right. And the other piece of that is knowing that all health issues are not the same. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring this up as an example. I have had a heart attack at age 37. My husband has had a heart attack just recently. Our heart attacks are completely different. My heart attack is from a blood disorder, which did not do any damage to my heart because it wasn't like clogged arteries. Okay. It was blood clots that had traveled there. And so me doing an inversion and my husband doing an inversion are totally different. Yeah. Very different, right? So know that like if also when you talk to your health provider, they have like if your health provider has all the information and they're a good health provider, they're going to talk through those elements with you, right? When you look up on the internet or talk to a health provider that doesn't really know you, they're just going to be like, oh, you had a heart attack. All this is bad. Oh, you had this. All this is bad. Oh, you had this. All this is bad. And so you have to really talk it through with your health provider. You have to really talk it through with yourself. Don't just automatically think A is bad, B is good, because B is not always good and A is not always bad.
Well, no, the thing is like I'm going to say ask questions and find out who to ask the correct questions to. I mean, we are not healthcare providers.
Nope.
So, like anything that we're saying are merely suggestions, and any questions that you have that in regards to your health, definitely, find a healthcare professional to speak to about that.
Somebody that you trust, right? And somebody that you can talk to. You are you. We are we, right? Me and Rachel are totally different people, and her health care, what she does for health and what I do for health is totally different. And it's because we've worked with people to make sure that we're doing the right things for us. So it's not, it's not that.
It's never a one size fits all.
Yes. Yep. And that's always, for me, that's always the problem with the diet thing. If somebody's giving you a diet, it's like, here's this diet. and it works for everyone. And it's like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Well, nothing with that too. Like, just nothing is forever. It's your life. Like, so you're going to make choices. You're going to change things, and you want to have a life, and you want to enjoy it, and that's that's important too.
Yes. And I think
we should stop ourselves very soon, because we can talk about this forever.
Yes.
And
so we're gonna wrap this up. This was even though it was a long episode, it was very quick for us, because I think it just kind of one right after the other.
Probably just keep going. So
yes, so we're gonna wrap it up, and then hopefully we can discuss more on our next self-care episode, because we have a couple more coming up. So
all right.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Friendship, wellness, and wisdom, because sometimes the best advice comes when you least expect it.